So guys, what is going on? I hope you guys are well. Hope you guys are staying safe. So guys, I didn't go into enough depth. I made a video on the weekend about Nonito Donaire and Bali, and I did a part one and part two kind of video where it was all in one, where I spoke about Haney and Donaire and Donaire and Bali. But I want to go into depth about Donaire. What a man, what a legend. The Filipino Flash strikes again, 9-time world champion. He beat O'Bali. And I said this in the video that I do think that, I think Donaire's achievements go under the radar because in the Philippines, they've got Manny Pacquiao. And Manny Pacquiao is obviously an icon to a lot of Filipinos. But when you think about what Donaire's done, Donaire, if there wasn't no Manny Pacquiao, Donaire would be an icon. Donaire would be a special fight. Obviously, he's not as good as Manny Pacquiao, and he's not done what Pacquiao's done. Pacquiao's in a league of his own, and he goes down as one of the greatest fighters ever. And Donaire doesn't quite fit in that category, but Donaire's a legend. He's a 9-time world champion. You know, he created history by becoming world champion again. This is a very, 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 very good fighter. And let's talk about the O'Bali fight. He literally bullied O'Bali. I think Donaire's a very, very big at the weight. You can also say, you know, when people say that someone's a weight bully, you almost say that Donaire's a bit like that at the weight he's at, 118 pounds. He's a lot bigger than everyone there. He's a lot bigger than everyone there. You know what whets the appetite is the fight between him and John Raul Casimero. If John Raul Casimero comes through against Rigondeaux, which by no means, I don't think that's an easy fight. I think Rigondeaux could easily beat him. And what a rematch that would be between Donaire and Rigondeaux. Obviously, Rigondeaux beat Donaire the first time. Rigondeaux is a special talent. Donaire fought a prime Rigondeaux. You know, Donaire beat a prime Rigondeaux. I do think that fight could be a bit different now, because Donaire at the minute has got the momentum. Donaire's coming off some great performances. I honestly think Donaire's just going through a bit of a purple patch. You know, there was a time where, you know, he lost to Carl Frampton. It looked like Donaire's career was over. But it seems like he's found his mojo, going back down to 118. He's a lot big. I think the advantage he's having at this weight is the fact that he's a lot bigger than a lot of the guys. I think he's massive. He's massive at the weight. Donaire is huge. Compared to O'Bali, he was massive. And obviously that plays a big part. That plays a big difference because Donaire's not completely shot to pieces. Donaire's still very good. And Donaire was pushing O'Bali back. He just looked too big and strong for him. He looked too big and strong for Donaire. Let's be honest. Donaire looked too big and strong for O'Bali. They looked like a weight class apart. They looked a weight class apart, 1 or 2. Donaire looked massive in there. He was strong. He wasn't being affected by Bali's punches. And then whenever Donaire was hitting O'Bali, you could clearly see they was having an impact. But Donaire was physically a lot stronger. You know, his punches were having a much more devastating effect. And I just don't think O'Bali could handle it. And in the end, I know O'Bali got stopped. I actually think he just wore him down. He just wore him down. I just don't think O'Bali had anything left because I just think Donaire was too strong. He's too big, and Inoue managed to get through against Donaire. But that was a very tough fight, and that's why I made this video, because I want to see Donaire v Inoue. And could Donaire, with beating O'Bali with the confidence, could Donaire, you know, avenge that loss? Possibly. I won't count Donaire off. Donaire's in the form of his life. Donaire's in the form of his life. I do think Inoue is a special fighter, but let's not forget, you know, Donaire broke Inoue's eye socket, orbital bone, and that was a very tough fight. That's the toughest fight that I've seen Donaire, or that's the toughest fight I've seen Inoue in. Donaire really put it on him, really made Inoue struggle, and you could clearly see Inoue was in a lot of trouble in that fight. A lot of trouble. You know, Donaire pushed him back, and like I said, that strength that Donaire's got at this weight, the size difference, and I think that's a big problem. And I actually think that Donaire fight and Donaire v Inoue fight, that's a very interesting rematch, because that first fight, there was a couple of times in there where I thought Donaire had Inoue. Now, you'd like to think Donaire's got older and Inoue's coming more into his prime. You'd like to think that fight would be a bit wider, but the way Donaire keeps getting better and better, you have to question that rematch could be very intriguing, and it wouldn't shock you if Donaire actually beats Inoue in the rematch. Now, would I be picking Donaire? No. But I do think that Donaire has, like before when Donaire fought Inoue the first time, I thought Inoue would batter him. But I was very wrong. Donaire came up and Donaire really put up a tough fight. And like I said, Donaire could have won that fight. You know, Donaire had Inoue hurt in that fight. I can't remember what round it was. He caught him with a right hand and Inoue had to get his skates on. Inoue had Donaire hurt as well, but Donaire, man, he showed a lot of grit, a lot of toughness, and like I said, I think that size, that size of Donaire is a problem. The size, man, he looks big, and he looked big compared to Inoue as well. He looked huge, and against Abali he was huge. Against Inoue he looked huge. Inoue was just too sharp, and in the end, just too good. And too fresh, possibly. Abali is obviously not as good as Inoue, so he wasn't able to get the job done. And Donaire was just too strong. This is what I'm trying to say. Donaire might be a problem. And I do think John Raul Casimero is a very good fight with Donaire. Because John Raul Casimero can punch and he's explosive and he's got a good, decent chin. That, for me, is a war. Casimero v Inoue, or Casimero v Donaire is a war. And for me, it would be a massive fight. Especially you could do that fight in the Philippines. It'd be a huge fight. Two Filipinos going at it. Who would the Filipinos get behind? It would be a huge fight. Be a huge fight. Massive fight. And that's, for me, a very, very good fight as well. I do think that's a great fight. Donaire v Casimero. I don't know who would I pick in that one. I think I'll probably slightly favour Donaire right now just because of the momentum that Donaire's got and the fact that Donaire's just beaten a very, very credible fighter in Abali. You know, Abali was a very, very good fighter. And Donaire just battered him. So, yeah. Donaire's on the form of his life. And like I said, I do think Donaire could possibly even give Inoue hellfire in the rematch. I would love to see it. I would love to see it. I want to see Donaire rematch Inoue again. I think he'll make for another classic. And let's not forget, the first fight was a classic as well. The first fight was a classic. It's one of the greatest fights I've seen. What a classic! What a great fight that was. It was an absolute classic. I remember watching that. It was a classic. I remember I was so giddy for days after. I kept talking about it because it was such a great fight. Wow, what a fight. What a fight, man. You know, Donaire went down, got back up. You know, Inoue was hurt. Both going at it. It was an absolute war. Absolute war. I remember my granddad watched that fight and my granddad was like, whoa, these two are warriors. Both were warriors. They both put it all on the line. They both, like I said, Donaire's not as fresh anymore. Donaire's past his best, without question. But the problem is for these guys at 118, Donaire's so much bigger than everybody. Donaire's huge. So he's so much bigger and stronger than all of these guys, right? These guys are a lot smaller than him. He's able to bully them and he can absorb their shots and he can keep coming. And that's the advantage someone like Donaire's got. Whereas the weight classes above, maybe those guys were about his size or maybe a little bit bigger and he wasn't able to do what he's doing. And because he's past his best, he could no longer compete with those bigger guys. Whereas these guys are smaller, so he's kind of able to physically bully them, which he isn't able to do with the bigger men at 122 or 126. You know, he's not able to do that because those guys are bigger, stronger, and they're fresh and they're just too much. Whereas I think at this weight, those guys are a lot smaller. If you look at Abali, he was quite a bit smaller than Donaire, and that makes a big difference because then Donaire's able to use his strength and size, and he's got punching power. We all know about Donaire's left hook. You know, Donaire's left hook is deadly, and he did do a lot of damage with that on against Abali as well. He was the way he was just pushing Bali back and just bullying him. Like I said, bullying him, walking forward, and had no respect for his power. And just in the end, like I said, worn him down. It wasn't one punch. It was just a matter of just wearing him down. Too big, too strong. Donaire, and Donaire's a problem. Donaire's a problem. I think I like what I'm seeing. I even like what I saw against Inoue. I thought he was and I did say after that fight that Donaire could become world champion again. Donaire will become world champion again. And if it wasn't Inoue in there, he may have won that fight. And I was right, because look at what he's done to Abali. I think the only guy, I do think that I would actually favor Donaire against Casemiro, and I would favor, even right now, I'd favor Donaire against Rigondeaux. The only guy that I think would probably beat him is Inoue, the guy that's already beat him. But I wouldn't be surprised if Donaire, I wouldn't be surprised if Donaire, overturns that as well. It wouldn't shock me if Donaire beats Inoue. I think he's capable. I think he's capable. Because I do think Donaire's a very big dude. And like I said, now after beating Abali, the confidence that he'll get from that, yeah, I think Donaire's a problem at this weight. I do. And like I said, I would love to see that rematch between him and Inoue, because that rematch has become a huge fight. Plus, especially the fact that the first fight was very good. And by the way, Donaire had his moments to win that fight. It wasn't like it was, all Inoue. It wasn't. It was by far all Inoue. Donaire had a lot of moments in that fight. And like I said, he hurt Inoue. So, maybe this time Donaire feels that if he hurts him, he'll finish him off. Donaire is a problem. He is a problem. Donaire is, like I said, 9-time world champion, the Filipino Flash. He's still going strong. And like I said, I want to see him fight. And listen, a lot of people want to see these old guys move to a side and let the young guys take, the baton. But when the old guy is meriting his place there, like Donaire is meriting his place. He was an underdog against Abali, and look how he bullied him and beat him comfortably. So Donaire really merits his place where he's at. And like I said, there's some cracking fights to be made. And hopefully they can be made. Donaire v Inoue rematch is a huge fight. It's a huge fight. And like I said, a fight that I definitely think that Donaire can even win. And like I said, there was a lot of talk about the rematch at the time when Donaire fought Inoue, because the fight was so close. And I said, Donaire, at the age he's at, Inoue's only going to get better. And Donaire's going to decline from here because he's older and he's been involved in a lot of tough fights. He's only going to decline. But however, Donaire seems to be getting better. And Donaire now has beaten a world-class fighter in Abali. And he's beaten well. So Donaire's not really showing any sign of decline. And most importantly, I think the important factor is that fact that I think that Donaire is a big guy at this weight. Donaire's a problem because of his size. And I think against Inoue, he was a problem because of his size. And I think against everybody, he's going to be a problem. And I think if he fights Inoue again, he's going to be a problem. I think if he fights Rigondeaux, even though Rigondeaux, has beaten before, and I think Rigondeaux is, Rigondeaux's a different type of fighter. But again, Rigondeaux's old. Rigondeaux's a guy that, relies on reflexes. Are they going to be there? Donaire's more a guy that he's more power, walking down pressure. He can wear you down. At his age, he seems to still be sharp for his age, and he still seems to be a very dangerous threat at world level. I don't know about Rigondeaux right now. So Rigondeaux is obviously fighting. They're talking about him fighting Casemiro. So we're going to find out a lot more about Rigondeaux and what he's got left. But there are big fights out there for Donaire now. The Rigondeaux rematch and the Inoue fight, the Inoue rematch. I think Donaire would probably want the Inoue rematch just because I think that would be financially more lucrative. And also, Rigondeaux has a very horrible style, which is very difficult. And if, like I said, if Rigondeaux's still the same old Rigondeaux, then that's a very hard fight for Donaire to win. So, and it's a horrible style as well to fight against, and Rigondeaux is very elusive, very difficult. So yeah, that division is hot packed right now, jam packed. And like I said, I can't wait to see Donaire fight again. And I hope it's Inoue. I hope that makes it, because remember the first fight was a classic, and I don't think the rematch would be any different. I think that would be a classic as well. So leave your thoughts, guys. Let me know what you think. Who do you think wins that rematch between Donaire and Inoue? Leave your thoughts in the comment section. And guys, remember to please like, share, and subscribe to my channel. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.